Hi, Geometry. This is page 39 of our workbooks, and it's a continuation of Unit 1, Lesson 6. On page 39, we're going to do construction number 9. I am skipping number 8 for a moment, but we're doing it next, so don't worry. So this construction is a parallel line with a point not on the line. It's also called the copy angle method. So here is line M. Here's line M. And point C not on the line. Using a straight edge and compass, so we're going to need our straight edge and our compass. Construct a line parallel to M that goes through C. So if you can imagine, parallel means that they're not going to touch. So I want to draw a line basically right about there, but I can't just draw it. I have to construct it. I have to have all my arc marks. These are the things that are going to be graded because I'm doing a construction. So our steps, feel free to pause the video and write down the steps, but I'm going to do each one with you. The first step we're going to do is draw a line. Through C, you create an angle with line M. So this line can be drawn. I think you should just have an acute angle that's not so small it's hard to work with, but not obtuse. So what do I mean? I mean, this angle that I'm creating right here, if you can imagine drawing a line, it's very small. It would work fine. If I bring this up a little closer and I drew a line right now, I'm also creating an angle with M. When it's my angle's starting to get a little more obtuse, which is fine. But at this point, I would avoid a right angle, and I'd also avoid an obtuse angle. For an obtuse angle, your marks just become so large with the compass, and for a right angle, some of your arcs are on top of each other. So a really good, when it says draw a line through C, just want like a nice size angle. So I just created an angle here with line M. Let's call this A. And I'm going to draw an arc through angle A. How big does this arc have to be? It doesn't really matter. Again, I would make something not so small, it's difficult to control your compass, but also I wouldn't cross C. So I would make sure that my compass is something smaller so that my pencil's not on the other side of C, because then things are going to start overlapping and it gets confusing. So I'm going to put my pointer at A, and I'm going to just, step 2, draw an arc through A. So this is my arc. You can draw a whole circle if you want, but I'm really looking for these two intersection points. So again, you set the compass to anything you want. My recommendation is that it doesn't go past C, nor is it too close to C. Some distance. So I'm going to draw this arc at A. So now, right here, if you've already wrote it down, then draw arc at C. So once I've drawn this arc here at angle A with this radius, I want to pick it up, put my pointer on C, and I want to draw the exact same arc. I mean, I want to draw my arc, basically the exact same arc. Make sure that you get this bottom right side over here. If you don't go low enough here, you're going to have to redraw your arc in a minute. So basically, I've got two arcs, one at A and one at C. I drew an arc through A, and then I drew arc through at C, and they are identical arcs. So now this intersection point and this intersection point, let's label these B and D. So this is angle BAD here. So B and D are on my penciled arc. They're a certain distance apart. I'm going to copy that distance. I'm going to measure from B to D. And then I'm going to mark this, not at C. Sorry if you've already wrote this down. At arc at C. So on this penciled arc, I'm going to measure this distance. I'm going to measure that distance up here at this penciled arc. So watch what I do here, and then I would like you to do it. I'm going to measure this distance. So I got to make my compass a little bit smaller. This penciled arc is this exact distance between B and D. I'm going to go up here not to C, but to the arc at C. And I'm going to measure that distance. A popular mistake that confuses students is if they put the pointer at D and the pencil at B, and then when you go up here, you don't really know where to put your pointer. So put your pointer on B and your pencil at D and measure this distance. Slide your pointer up to the penciled arc at C and measure that distance. Again, pointer at B, measure the distance to D. Slide your pointer not to C, but up to the penciled arc and mark that distance. Now, where you marked your distance and C should make the bottom of my copied angle. So we're going to take our straight edge and we're going to line up C and we're going to line up this arc that I marked. And when I do so, the line I draw should look parallel to M. Let's call it lowercase n. And so it's going to be hard to read this because I'm writing in the green area. But the last step was to draw parallel line through C. So in this construction, line N is parallel to line M. The two long symbols, it's not 11, it's two really long vertical lines, means the word parallel. This is the geometric abbreviation for the word parallel. N is parallel to M. If your line for N is kind of slanted downwards, my guess is when you measured from B to D, you marked it at C so that your point was down lower when you drew it through. If your line, when you draw it, is going this direction, you might have marked that distance on the other side of your line. So this is the copy angle method for constructing parallel lines. And we're basically going to do it again in construction number 8. As you'll notice, this was 9. So if you flip your book to the next page, page 40, I need to tear mine out. It doesn't fit on the desk that I'm on right now. This is construction number 8. It is identical to construction number 9, except this is a parallel line with a point on the line. So let me flip my page over. Remember, we started with a line and a point C that was off, not on the line, it was off the line. So on this side, we're going to do the same construction, but if this was to be given to you on a test or a quiz, you would have a line, so leave some white space for all your drawing. Draw a line, and instead put a point on the line. So basically, I'm going to do all the same steps. Do all the same steps as construction number 9. How does this look different? Well, when I go to draw my line, this point is already on the line. So if you want to think of this in terms of the directions on the other page, this is my angle A already on here. Somewhere on my line, you need to now that you've drawn the line, put a point C. Again, you're going to copy this angle right here up to here. So the steps I'm ready to do with you is copying this angle up to this angle. I want to create this angle right here so that I can draw that line. So our first step was to draw an arc through angle A, and it can be any distance you want. So I'm going to set it to any distance I want and draw a big arc. Again, you basically don't want it to go past C or be too close to your point C. Once you draw your arc at A, you're going to move your pointer up and draw your arc at C. You're going to draw the exact same arc, just as long. You're going to draw it up here at C. So again, you drew an arc at A, and then you do that exact same arc at C. So now, what was our next step? Our next step was to measure from B to D and mark at the arc at C. Well, I don't have a B and D on this page, but B and D are my intersection points. You're welcome to write B and D here, but I just want to show you without writing it. This is the penciled arc. I'm going to put my pointer on the top, and I'm going to measure my penciled arc. That would be my B and D from the previous page. I'm going to slide up here, not to C, but slide up to my other penciled arc, and I'm going to mark that distance. So you don't need to write the letters in. Just measure your pencil arc, move up to the pencil arc, the other pencil arc, and mark it. The pointer has to be on your pink line here, your line that has A and C, in order for that to work. So again, to make it match the words on the previous page, I had a B and D there. I measured from a B and D, and then I moved my pointer not to C, but to the arc at C, and I marked that same distance. This distance right here matches B and D. That now allows me to draw a line from C through my intersection point. And when I draw this line from C through my intersection point, this line is parallel to my original line. So if we call this line M and this is line N, M is parallel to N. 8 and 9 are basically the same construction. The difference is some of you on your quiz, it will start with a picture of a line and you'll have a point not on it. Oh, sorry, let me slide this down. And you'll have to construct a parallel line. Other people on theirs, they'll have a line with a point on it and they'll ask you to construct a parallel line to this line. In both cases, your final picture should be two parallel lines, and the steps are very similar. The same thinking for the copy angle method. This is not the only method to construct parallel lines. You are welcome to use other methods to construct them. It's generally thought of as to be the most straightforward method, which is why I'm using it right here with our class. This concludes the notes for Unit 6. Thank you.